Hi everyone! This video series focuses on how to use all menus and options in GTO+. This first video will give a brief overview of the software. I will give a quick demonstration of how to build a basic tree, how to run the solver, playing versus the solution, and connecting to FlopzillaPro. The videos after this will delve into more detail and will focus on specific menus. If you're watching this video series on YouTube, then at the bottom of this video, the timeline will be available, with a subdivision into chapters. So if you're looking for something specific, then you can just skip right to it. Also, subtitles will be available in both English as well as several other languages. To turn on subtitles, click on the subtitle icon. And to choose a language, click on the options icon and select Subtitles. So, with that being said, let's delve right in. GTO Plus is what is referred to as a GTO solver. Here, GTO stands for Game Theory Optimal. It assumes a game between two players, and both of these players play absolutely perfectly. They know the other player's strategy, and they know how to perfectly play against this strategy. The question now becomes, what is the strategy that each player will finally arrive at? Or in other words, how should you play versus an infinitely strong opponent? This is the question that GTO Plus can answer for you. Let's begin by setting up your first basic decision tree. For this, first of all, we'll need to know the starting ranges with which both players reach the flop. To enter the range for the out-of-position player, click on the top matrix. In the interface, out of position will be referred to as range 1, and in position will be referred to as range 2. For this demonstration, I will just enter some range for the out-of-position player. To now enter a range for the in-position player, click on the second matrix. And I will again just enter some range. Now click on Board to enter the flop. And all that's left now is to build a decision tree. For this, click on Build Tree. Here on the left, we can enter the starting pot with which the flop is reached, as well as the effective stacks. Now we are currently in cash game mode, but sit and go and MTTs are also available. More details on this menu will be discussed in one of the next videos in this series. As for the tree building instructions, for this demonstration we will use the Basic Tree Builder tab. And in the Basic Tree Builder, all you need to select is how many bets are used to get the money in. We will just go with the default 4 bets. The bet and raise sizes have already been filled out for you, so that the money goes in 4 geometrically sized bets. And geometric sizing means that all bets and raises are the same percentage of the pot, which in this case is roughly 56%. If you want to build more advanced trees with multiple bet sizes, then you can use the Advanced Tree Builder tab. The advanced options will be described in one of the later videos in this series. But for this introduction, we will just use the Basic Tree Builder. So, let's click on Build Tree to build our tree. And that's it, our tree has now been built, and the tree will now appear in the navigator on top of the interface. By clicking on a decision in the navigator, we now see the program's internal analysis tools for the selected decision. And you can click on the actions to move to another decision. I'll just navigate to the decision after the action goes check bet. Here, on the left in the table, all hands are listed and ranked according to equity. So currently 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds is the strongest hand in the range. This is not too surprising given that the flop is 10 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, which makes 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, both the nut straight, as well as a flush draw. And here we see a visual representation of whether the hands should be raised, called or folded. Here, blue is raise, green is call, and red is fold. However, at this point our tree has not yet been solved, so currently the solution is just set as random. To solve our new tree, go to Run Solver. We'll need to set a target DEV, or Nash distance. This target DEV is a measure for how accurate we want our solution to be. A lower value for DEV will mean a higher accuracy. However, it will take more time to calculate the solution. For any practical purposes, a target DEV of 0.5% should be sufficient. And for storage, mostly you'll want to use extensive storage. Basically, it will mean that navigating trees will work more smoothly, but the disadvantage will be that your save files will be larger. I will go over this in more detail in the later videos. For the moment, let's now run the solver. And this should typically take a few minutes. Okay, I will just skip ahead in the video. Now this is a pretty fast computer and the solve here took a bit over 20 seconds. With the tree now having been solved, we can now go back to the tree navigator to look at the solution. Here in the left it will show in the table how each hand should be played. So for example, we can see that 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds should be bet 100% of the time. And that 10-9 offsuit should be bet roughly 50% of the time. Now there's a lot of detail to be found here, but for the purposes of this introduction video, I will just briefly discuss all items in the interface. In the middle of the interface we have a starting hand matrix. If I mouse over a hand in the matrix, then the table will adjust and only show those particular hands. On the right, the strategy is shown in the form of statistics, such as set, top pair and flush draw. And again, if I mouse over a statistic, the table will adapt and will only show the hands that are in that statistic. So as you'll notice, the distribution in the table is the same as the distribution in the statistic. So this should be 10 of hearts, 9 of hearts. I'll just show that by mousing over it in the statistic. And 10 of hearts, 9 of hearts will indeed light up in the table. And this part is 10 of clubs, 9 of clubs. And indeed, if I mouse over this part of the statistic, 10 of clubs, 9 of clubs lights up in the table. So this display method is a quick overview of how the statistic is composed. Now I will go over the analysis tools in more detail in one of the next videos in this series. For the moment, let's move on to the play against the solution feature. Now GTO Plus also offers the ability to play versus the GTO solution. For that, click on the icon here. We can select whether we want to play as the out of position player or as the in position player, or if we want to alternate. I'll just select out of position, sit down and start playing. To let the solution play itself, press Ctrl and right-click Heroes field. And left-click to stop the autoplay. The hand histories of the hands that have been played will be stored on the right. Here on the right, we have the option to export to FlopzillaPro. If you have a license for FlopzillaPro, then clicking on Export to FlopzillaPro will export the current ranges. I have FlopzillaPro here off screen, and I'll just show that the ranges have just been exported to it. I will just scale it down to make it a bit smaller, so that both programs can be seen at the same time. If you select Live Exports to FlopzillaPro, then whenever a new situation is reached, FlopzillaPro will automatically be updated. I will just demonstrate by turning autoplay on again. and FlopzillaPro will automatically update at every new decision. Okay, I'll just stop autoplay. And exporting to FlopzillaPro is also always possible from within the Analysis tool. I'll just go to the Analysis tool. For this, go to FlopzillaPro, Export to FlopzillaPro, or press Ctrl+F. So, that's it for this brief overview of GTO+. The next videos will focus in further detail on the different parts of the interface. And if you're looking for a particular subject, then just check on the website which subjects can be found in which video. Anyhow, that's it for this brief overview. I hope you enjoyed this video.